Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big Red.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast, the Husker Fan Sports Show.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, Honky, and I'm with Redcast Abby.
Hey, so it is 8 o'clock here in God's country, but if you've been watching baseball over the weekend, then you'll know that it's 6 o'clock out in the West Coast. They may not be ready yet for what's about to happen with this podcast.
Have they even waken up yet?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's too early. It's too early for them.
Well, someone else who's an hour behind us, Redcast Rob out there in Colorado. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Congratulations to Nebraska softball. Losing a tight one yesterday, 1-0, but still having a ball. And I'm also looking forward to renaming our baseball segment on this show to Around the Tie Horn. So that'll be really fun.
Very nice. And I'm with Redcast Boomer.
Well, just here today enjoying the press conference from Greg Sankey on the SEC as they continue to try to destroy college sports as we know it. So, exciting day.
One press conference at a time.
That's right. It just means more.
Yep, that's right. One press conference at a time. The SEC. Oh, gosh, that could be a whole show by itself, Boomer. But we have plenty to talk about here. It's been a little while since the Redcast has got together. And, it's been a fun little weekend from Friday night all the way through today. We've had, every Husker fan's been having to kind of look back and forth on different TVs with the softball and baseball games going on. It's been a lot of fun to watch some postseason sports. Huskers doing quite well in them. We're going to get to that at the very end of this episode, too. We're going to talk about how the sports season maybe was a little sneakier, better than maybe some fans give it credit for, especially the ones that think that, every coach should be fired all the time. So, this is what we just did last weekend. This is important for Husker sports, Husker Nation, to have these collective moments where you're watching things together and you're cheering together and rooting for the teams. And, we had an amazing run there in Omaha, finished up with 15,000 plus people at the Schwab yesterday. And softball was one game away, one run away from getting to the College World Series. Away. Yep. And I think that as we talk about softball, we'll talk about what that offseason looks like and what they have coming back. But
the strike zone away.
But before we even get into the sports, I'll start with you, Boomer. Give me your thoughts. What was the weekend like for you? The long Memorial Day weekend, watching a lot of Husker sports on TV. What was it like for you?
It was nice to actually see, postseason play from Husker sports, getting close to it. Some of it was watched in small bursts, as I seem to be bad luck at various times, certain programs. So there'd be some switching back and forth. And I still kind of blame myself, for the softball loss, just for tuning back in at the last second. So, you can take that out on me if you're upset about that loss. But again, it is good to see, teams that I think people weren't expecting a lot out of, in the case of softball to start the season necessarily, or a team that we did expect a lot out of, but people kind of gave up on mid-season with the way baseball was in a lot of ways. Both, come down and finished relatively strong, I think. So good for everybody.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Abby?
I like Boomer and bad luck for the baseball team. So I mostly just watch softball. But caught parts of the baseball season. But I agree. It's fun that it's still happening. It's crazy to think that 2 weeks ago, we didn't even think we'd be in the Big Ten tournament. We were just very realistically in that place of we could miss this. We could just not make it. And so then we were, you want to talk about a game of inches in softball. We were a squeeze of a glove away from being done in baseball. And I think it feels like that's very, very, very much Nebraska sports is always so close. So I thought but it's fun, and it's been fun to see that kind of start to swing in our direction in a couple of different ways.
Rob?
Well, I think you of all people knows, Honky, that I have probably been the most of all believers in this baseball team the entire season. I've been seriously just trying to twist it and turn it in every way that I possibly could to make an argument for this team getting in. And I know you were saying, that they had to win out this weekend. I'm glad they did. So there was no question. It's crazy because the season I knew it was going to be tough when they had to go out on that West Coast trip and they played UCLA, USC, and Pepperdine, I think. And it was like a 2-week period that they were out there. Washington was at home, but it's just a rough way to start the Big Ten season. And then they ended up winning, their last 5 Big Ten series. They did win some, road games. They won a couple weekday games. They lost a few weekday games. And I don't know. I just kind of always saw that like our weekend pitching was going to be good enough to compete with anybody in the country. And I think this weekend kind of proved that. And I hope that it remains true as we face Oklahoma later this week and go on to the regional in the, here in college baseball. And I think there's a lot of things to be optimistic about in these formats. And I just can't wait to just keep seeing this team prove me right. It's exciting. Just loving it. Since I'm boycotting Major League Baseball, this has pretty much been all the baseball I get. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Well, let's get into baseball here. The Around the Van Horn segment, and have
Ty
a
Horn
tweet up here from Jason from Huskerland. Full list of Big Ten baseball teams with at least 4 regular season conference tourney titles and 6 regionals over the last decade. Nebraska. That's the list right there. And he goes on, no Big Ten team, even the new West Coast teams, has more conference titles over the last decade than Nebraska. Nebraska and UCLA are tied for the most regionals over the last 10 seasons at 6. Just to give a little bit of, perspective, I think, on where Husker baseball is. Yeah, they needed to win. I have no doubt about that. They needed to win this tournament. The Big Ten was not going to get a lot of favors. So we weren't going to catch any of those benefits of the doubt. We needed to win it all, but that's what they did. And I don't really care that, a Michigan State outfielder forgot to catch a ball. Doesn't matter to me. We'll take every bit of, if it's luck or whatever it is, that team to go out there and do what they did over the last 32 hours over the weekend to win 3 games, to beat Oregon and go through UCLA, 2 of the top 15, 16 seeds there. That's a true credit to these guys. They finished strong, and it's a tough season. I mean, you lose McConaughey right away at the very beginning. You lose one of your aces, basically. And, I get the fans that are frustrated. I get the fans that don't like seeing us struggle against those teams in Omaha in the middle of the week, and that does need to stop. But at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do at the end here to get into the tournament. And now we have 4 teams from the Big Ten in there, and I wouldn't want to play Nebraska right now. I mean, this team is the way they played this last weekend is so similar of a setup to what they're going to have to go through in super regional play. And Rob, to your point, Ty Horn, man, that guy stepped up at the absolute perfect time, going 8 innings and 15 pitches or whatever it was, scoreless, just amazing, incredible.
He wanted to go out there for the last inning. I mean, he was seriously saying to the coaches, one more, like he knew that he had it in him. Quite frankly, the way that 9th inning started, I was thinking they should have left him out there. But fortunately, I think I mean, are you really a closer in baseball if the inning isn't interesting, right? Like if a couple guys get on base or you don't get on base, like if you just go 1, 2, 3 as a closer, are you really even that good? I mean, that's kind of the question on that. I also have something else too. In the last 10 years or so, Michigan State has been responsible for 2 of like Nebraska sports' most exciting endings. I mean, in a lot of games, right? We had the Brandon Riley touchdown out of bounds, and then 3. Abby says, and then
2 are positive.
The drop. Yeah, I'm trying to stay positive here, Abby.
Okay, then yeah, that's 2. Yeah.
And then the drop ball. You know what's weird is that when he was going back for that ball, I kind of knew that he was going to drop it because he started to come in and then he started going back, and he reminded me of like a little league player, like couldn't find the ball all of a sudden, and he was just kind of putting his glove there hoping it fell into it. It fell into it and then it fell out of it. So, I mean,
yeah, it is important for, again, this is kind of that conversation, and we'll have it at the end of this too, where, we always call ourselves, Husker realism with an optimistic spin on the Redcast. That's our tagline. And I get the people that get frustrated with certain things or think that we didn't have as successful a season, all that. People can sit there and say, we got lucky. Yeah, we got lucky. That guy dropped a ball. And then we went on to win 4 straight games afterwards. I mean,
better to be lucky than good.
He could have dropped that ball and we still could have lost to Michigan State. I mean, this team did what they did and went against, the best pitcher that, Oregon could throw at them. And, they didn't catch a whole lot of breaks after that. I mean, give me a break. And we played at home. Cool. I mean, I love the UCLA fans are like, yeah, this isn't fair playing there, that, we should be out there. And I think it was Sarah said, tweeted out that, we play in front of 400 fans if it was at UCLA. I mean, give me a break. Our fans showed up. Good for us.
No, okay. Well, those fans should listen to their coach then, because that UCLA coach said it wouldn't make a difference. Fans don't make a difference. It's coaching, it's players, it's, all of that. Fans don't matter. Okay. Then fans didn't matter. Like,
yeah,
I
that
think
was
they do, but
UCLA's basketball coach said that, right? So
was it their basketball coach or their?
Well, he said that back in January when UCLA got beat here at PBA as well.
But really, what college
they all
baseball
look the
needs
same
is
to me.
more advantages for Southern and Western programs. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
really should.
Yeah.
John Wooden said sports don't build character; they reveal it. So
Yeah.
I mean, suck
Noah-
at UCLA.
Noah here says, where y'all at? We'll start with you, Abby. We see like a shed in the background, so you're roughing it. It's Memorial Day weekend. Where are you at?
It's Memorial Day weekend. We built a fire. We've been outside most of the day, so we're just enjoying the outside. We moved the setup out here. We've got a TV on to watch basketball, or currently Peter Pan, whatever. Yeah,
Rob, you
just
look like
enjoying
you have
it while we can.
Yeah, Rob, you're in some different setup there. Are you upstairs? Or?
No, I'm downstairs in the basement, and actually where my TV is set up down here, I got a big 50 some odd inch screen, my record player, my Xbox, all of that.
Okay.
Generally I'm in the office, but we have a new baby here, and so she's been kind of living in my office as she adapts to the house. Her name is Miss LaRue Blue Bayou. I don't know what my kid's name is.
For the Redcasters listening to the show, he showed a photo of a cat, just so that
Yeah.
there's no
I did
confusion
show a
what the
photo
baby
of a
is.
cat. I've got 2 cats now. I do have Creamsicle Tom Osborne, Art Steinberg. Yes. And then I also have Miss LaRue Blue Bayou. My girls had the honor of naming both. So where am I at? I'm in the basement. Mom, meatloaf. Sorry.
So Rob has a cat named Tom Osborne Creamsicle. Dave's got a dog, Jarvis Redwine. Anyone else? Boomer, do you have any pets named after Husker coaches, players, greats?
If I do, it was inadvertent. I'll have to look a little. Maybe I do need a jumbo steam hamster or something. I don't
That
know.
would be good.
Yeah, what's going on next time? Yeah. So.
Yeah, we need to do that. Well, and no, I'm in the Redcast basement. I mean, typical setup for me here. Baseball wise, going back to that though, what a weekend.
We're so good at this. Yeah.
We've done a few of them.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Abby, I want to go back to you here on this. I mean, like this. Oh, are you getting the Wi-Fi shakes outside?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit there.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, the let's go back to the weekend here. Friday night, softball, they win, and then baseball is going to be up, and we have rain all night there in Omaha. So that gets to the very early part there. Abby's hot take. Oregon, Nebraska, first pitch was at 9 a.m. I think on Saturday. Oregon never really looked like they were awake, and so I don't. Again, hey, it's 7 o'clock their time. Well, it's 9 o'clock this time, and they threw their best guy out there, and Nebraska just dominated.
And also, but also like Oregon had just played a series in Des Moines, Iowa, which is same time zone, And
Yeah.
they didn't go back. Like, they stayed in the Midwest. So they knew, like, that was such an, like, Dustin kept yelling at them every time that they'd be like, whoa, it's this time o'clock on the West Coast. It's like, shut up about the time. Like, they've been here. They're adjusted. Get over it. Like, oh, it was a
They've
thing.
been here for over a week. What do you need? How much time do you need to adjust?
Seriously.
But that game, I mean, that was such an impressive performance there, and that was their ace. And how far did he make it into the game? Was he 4 innings? I think that was his shortest outing of the season. He made it 4, and then UCLA's guy made it 1 inning. I mean, this team, I'm telling you, in those 32 hours, if we hit like that, and if we get the pitching performance that we had, Boomer, let's talk regional now. We're in the North Carolina regional. North Carolina plays against, they're the 1 seed against Holy Cross, and in true poetic football fashion, Nebraska, Oklahoma, the rivalry renewed. Boomer, let's talk a little bit regional, and the way that we played, the momentum we have coming out of where we were. I mean, I don't know if I'm Oklahoma, I wouldn't want to face Nebraska right now. We're pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough regional, no doubt. I mean, North Carolina is a darn good baseball team, but
Yes.
worry about that after playing Oklahoma and beating them, and quite frankly, we've got a revenge game against Holy Cross too. If you recall, we lost to them back in 2017, I think it was, and I think when we were out in Corvallis. So there is some history there, to at least avenge that loss as well. But yeah, Oklahoma, I mean, they're not the greatest team out of the Southeast, but they are a Southeast team, so. Yeah, we just have to try to keep that momentum going and just win that first game. I think that's the big key. Just win it and don't get in that loser's bracket right away, and anything can happen at that point.
How many Southeast SEC teams made it?
Oh, geez. How many got auto bids? They had like 8 of the 16 or so.
Yeah, 8 of the 16 that are hosting. And Rob, which one didn't make it? There's one SEC team that didn't make it. I can't remember. Who is it?
Texas A&M. Texas A&M.
Okay. Weird. Yeah.
Wait, why does that school sound familiar?
I don't know, but I'm gonna just take credit for us knocking them out as an at-large team.
That's a real good point, though, Rob. Is that's the thing about I said I think Nebraska needed to win the tournament. I'm glad we did. I don't think we get in if we don't. But the fact that we won it and we got in, USC was listed as one of the last 4 in. This was a 3-bid league. The Big Ten was, and Nebraska made a 4-bid league. Somebody got kicked out because of us. Well, somebody got booted. And if it happens to be A&M, all the better.
Here's the list, Honky, in case you're wondering. It's Vanderbilt, Texas, Arkansas, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, and not Texas A&M.
Yeah. The first 4 out were supposedly Southeast Louisiana, so if they really don't like Nebraska these days and base-related sports. Troy, UConn, and Virginia. So A&M didn't even make the first 4 out.
Wow.
So,
remember, Virginia started the season like Virginia 1. Was the number 2. Were they 1 or 2?
Texas. Oh, I'm sorry. Texas A&M was the number 1 overall.
Yeah. So Virginia was the number 2 preseason pick team, and that's. So I say that like when people talk about like, oh, but Nebraska, all this is like, yeah, but it could have been worse, guys.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that a little bit, Abby, too, is because, and that was actually a point I wanted to bring up, is that while Nebraska was picked to finish yesterday they were saying something about number 2 in the conference. Yep. I thought they were supposed to be like number 4 or 5. That's in preseason.
It was 2.
for the Big Ten. Was it 2 overall to start?
Was 2.
Because I mean, with teams like Oregon, UCLA, USC coming in, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that anyone would think that we were going to be number 2 in the league, just based on the history of those teams alone. But I mean, that's just me and being a realist, not thinking that Nebraska would be the best team in the league. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, they finished 8th. They're in the tournament. All the other teams are not, except for 3 Pac-12 teams, essentially, that just entered the league this year. I mean, the Pac-12, the old Pac-12 technically has as many teams in the tournament as the the new Big Ten does. So if you look at it that way,
Yeah,
Oregon, UCLA, Oregon State, who is an independent this year,
and
who we beat 2 out of 3 games for the record, and they were the number 8 overall seed.
Yeah, against the top 8, we were 3-2 overall because we went 2-1 against Oregon State. We beat Vanderbilt, the overall number 1 seed, and then we lost to LSU.
Yeah, and LSU, we were hanging with them up until about like the 5th or 6th inning, if I recall. And that's fine. I mean, this team has really found themselves here in the last month and a half of the season. I'm super proud of all those boys and how hard they've gone out and played. There were a few midweek games that I'd love to get back. What was it? What was the one where against who was it where they hit the walk-off? It was a Northwestern, was it? Or there towards the end of the season, there was a walk-off on us where we should have swept the series, but maybe that was the last series.
I know we had one.
Was it against Purdue? Was it Purdue? Maybe it was Purdue. Yeah, I don't know. Dustin's sitting right there. He'll remember.
He doesn't care about baseball.
Yeah.
We've tried. My dad has tried trolling him over it. He doesn't care.
I'm looking this up here. Was it Virginia? You said, were they number 2 preseason?
Yeah.
So the top, I guess I knew about A&M, but you're saying the
1
top
and
2
2
teams, like that.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before? The preseason number 1 and number 2 team both don't make the postseason tournament. That's insane.
Matt, just wait till we get to the softball, and I tell you what happened to the number 1 overall seed in the super regionals, or not even supers, to the regionals. Baseball, softball is a weird sport. It is so funky.
And it's crazy because every
1 and 2 in baseball.
Wow.
Everything in baseball and softball too, Abby, and this is so streaky, right? And everybody feeds off everybody else. And so sometimes it even is just as simple as like one guy maybe missing a ball, just barely missing it, striking out, coming back to the dugout and just telling everyone, hey, look, every 3rd pitch or every 4th pitch, he's throwing it here. And then all of a sudden you get like 4, 5, 6 hits in a row. You have a big inning, you put up a crooked number. And then everybody just continues to feed off of that energy, but you can also get yourself really down in the dumps really fast, and it can last for a while. It's really hard to get like a big play to get that momentum. So, it is what it is.
And this, we've been primarily a football podcast for so many years. And as a football fan base that Nebraska is, we live in the old college football world of you lose 1 game and your season's over. We're trained that way. And when you're playing in sports that are playoff sports, and now that's what football is becoming as well. You think about sometimes how silly, as a fan, how silly you can look 5 minutes later after fire this coach. And, Ohio State fans were firing, Ryan Day after losing to Michigan, and they're the national champs right now. And meanwhile, Bolt has certainly had plenty of detractors. There's been losses that we've had. No one's claiming here that we haven't had some losses we wish we didn't have. But right now, this team is back-to-back Big Ten champs. They're back-to-back regionals, and they're on a roll right now. Despite some of the injuries and all that, it hasn't just been all luck and guys dropping balls for us to get here. This team's progressively gotten better. Rob, you've definitely trumpeted them along the way, and I was happy for you because you've been right in the forefront of supporting.
I needed this, okay, Honky. I needed this. Yes.
You needed this. You needed. We all needed this. It's a great win, and keep with them here this weekend. They're going to play on Friday night. Friday at 4:00 Central against Oklahoma. So I'm not sure exactly what, probably like ESPN Plus or one of those, I'm guessing.
It's on ESPN.
Is it ESPN?
Yeah, it's ESPN.
That's what the flagship?
That's what it was saying this morning on the tournament selection show.
Okay,
kept saying on ESPN. Now
I'll let Boomer fact
who
check
knows if they turn it into the Ocho. Like last night, I was running my trivia and they had dodgeball on.
Yeah. You never know this time of year. But anyways, great job, Coach Bowl and the gang. And we've got more baseball, so stick with them. All right, let's switch it over here to having a ball. And, of course, that's BAHL ball. Jordy Ball, this softball team, and they made it to a super regional. So they made it to the level of what we're hoping we get through in baseball this next weekend. If we can get through North Carolina regional, we'll make it to where the softball team was last week, which was in Knoxville to go against the number 7 seed Tennessee Volunteers, a great team in their own. And, Abby here, I'm going to bring up something that you wrote here. This is Through These Gates. Nebraska softball, incredible season, ended with disappointment, but Abby something writes, with most of their production returning, this offseason is more of an intermission before what could be an incredible next act in 2026. First off, tell us a little bit about this. This is Through the Gates Substack. Tell us a little bit about this article where they can see this, and let's talk a little softball.
Yeah. So Through These Gates is just a fan run Substack where fans can write opinion pieces. It's all James Prutch is kind of the editor, what I like to call him. He kind of runs it. If you want to read it, you can either follow the account Through These Gates or TTG Husker, or you can subscribe and get updates every time an article is posted. The link is throughthesegates.substack.com. Sorry, let me speak correctly. Either way, either one of those places, you can go and find articles. There's things about baseball. There's, obviously a lot of football stories. And as it kind of gets going through the season, we'll get more and more stories about things that are coming up. It's just like sports news from a fan lens. So similar to this podcast, just in a written form. Yeah. And James was very nice to let me write. I've written a couple things for them. This one was, I think, by far my favorite thing I've only written 2, but whatever. I'm very proud of it. I'm very, I really, really enjoyed getting to write it and then getting to share it with people. And it's basically just that we had a pretty phenomenal year. This was a team that with Jordy was expected to be pretty good. I think we exceeded those expectations despite having such high ones to begin with. We probably weren't supposed to win the regional. Like, that was probably supposed to go to LSU since they hosted. We definitely weren't supposed to sweep our way through a regional, and we definitely weren't supposed to put up a fight against Tennessee, a nationally ranked team, even though we beat them earlier in the year. So I think when you look at how we did in the season, we exceeded. But if you dig deeper, we broke so many program records. We broke records for home runs, for run rules, for I'm trying to think of what else, so many offensive things. Jordy obviously is an amazing pitcher, joined the 2020 club, which is 20 wins, 20 home runs. She was about 2 home runs short of being the only member of the 25-25 club, which was 25 wins, 25 home runs. It's phenomenal. We had essentially a whole new infield. We had new outfields because we lost a lot of seniors the year before. We got a lot of kids who came back, were from Nebraska or have ties to Nebraska and came back to play. So it was a pretty phenomenal year, and we're only losing so far 4 players from that team, 3 seniors and 1 who's already entered the transfer portal. And we've already gotten 1 from the transfer portal. We just don't know who yet. So I think the expectations are going to be high next year. And I think we have the capability of repeating and of hosting, if not a super regional, at least a regional. We have that capability as a team. And so I think it's just going to be so I called it was this was just intermission, and that it's really sad and it's really ending. But next year, guys, it's just gonna continue on in that same format because we've got so much returning production and just a team of people who love playing for Nebraska and wearing that Nebraska jersey.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Jordy and the amazing season that she had, and she was one of those in the post-game presser that talked about immediately thinking towards and talking about next season. The year that she had, you talked about the home runs and everything, the stat that they kept showing on TV that she was hitting around 450, but and pitching like 125 or whatever. Yeah, 1 point. The difference of it being like 300 plus, the difference between what she was pitching versus what she was hitting is just insane. It just shows what a phenomenal player she was. Pickens was an unbelievable pitcher on Tennessee's side, but when you look at what Ball is doing both behind, at the mound and then behind the plate, that is just that's incredible. You just don't see that.
Yeah, it's she's a finalist, one of the 3 finalists for National Player of the Year. Softball USA picked their Player of the Year already, but there's another one. The official one comes before the Women's College World Series. And the top 3 are Brie Ellis out of Arkansas, who's hitting like Barry Bonds numbers on offense. Like she is, I mean, just killing it at the bat. Like she is probably the best batting average. All of these, she's just ahead there. And then you've got I can never pronounce her first name correctly, and so I'm really sorry. Kennedy, the pitcher at Texas Tech, who came over from Stanford, who has the best ERA of all pitchers. She's like 0.5 or something stupid. Like she is a phenomenal pitcher. She's a good hitter. She's a phenomenal pitcher. She's better than Carlin Pickens. Like she's so good. And then you've got Jordy Ball, who is a phenomenal pitcher and a phenomenal hitter. Oh, good. Our lights are turning off, so it's just getting creepy and dark now. They're coming back on now. So you've got somebody who has like the offensive power, not quite to the level, but you've got an offensive powerhouse of Brie Ellis and the pitching style and the pitching capability of Kennedy in one player of Jordy Ball. That's just unheard of. Lots of pitchers try to go like play offense and defense, and obviously outfielders play offense and defense. It's just what she's able to do feels she is a truly unique athlete in that regard.
Well, and Rob, one of the things I like about Jordy is that, in this day and age of NIL and all that, you mentioned the player that went to Texas Tech and, there was a big NIL, number to get her there. I'm obviously Jordy's not, doing this without any NIL as well, but you really get the sense with her how important coming back to the state was. You also get it with the other players that did transfer back that were Nebraska kids, left the state, went somewhere else, and then they transferred back. But I see that with Jordy. You see it with the tattoo on her arm. Rob, you were talking about some tattoos earlier. Her tattoo on the arm of the state of Nebraska, the outline. Like you just get the sense, the love that she has for this place. And I talk about watch out for baseball. I think that we're on a roll. Watch out for the softball team next year, Rob.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the amount of returning players they have. It's funny because I actually
lose 2. I think
the way that they were talking about Jordy too at one point. They were making it sound like she was going to be done, right? Like that this was going to be her final year, and I'm just happy to know. And so of course I'm convinced that was the case. And then Abby did her article, and then she was talking on the app earlier with somebody, I think, back and forth about her coming back. And I don't know, it's really exciting to watch. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say that, like, with her on the team, I definitely showed a lot more interest. I would get really frustrated when baseball and softball were playing at the same time, especially like yesterday, but even the whole season, because listening to Nate Rohr on the app, on the radio and do the call was always better than anybody you could hear on TV. Whether it was some Big Ten announcer or Big Ten Plus announcer or some student from somewhere in the middle of nowhere, calling the game. Nate was always consistent. What's that? Yeah.
I said Nate significantly better than Beth Mowens.
Yes. So it was just a lot of fun, and just the way that he interacts with the people listening. Like I was always having fun, just like kind of tweeting out like, "Hey, listening from Greeley, walking around the Allo building," or, things like that. And he'd be like, "Oh, and welcome to, Redcast Rob, listening to us in Greeley, Colorado, as always." It's just fun to kind of be a part of that and just consistently get in there and get excited about it. I will give you credit, Abby. Like, since you've been on the show, I've paid a lot more attention to women's sports and all that. And some of it was just, like volleyball, getting more educated. I mean, I always watch volleyball. I would say this year I really started to understand volleyball and actually have real conversations with people about it. So it's good shit.
That's the thing. Boomer, we haven't been talking about it on the Redcast, not obviously before Abby joined, but just in general, we haven't been paying attention to softball. We haven't been paying attention to some of these sports. We've talked about over the years that we should, but like I think of this softball team this year, how many new fans did they just bring in over the course of the year, over the course of these last couple of weekends? I mean, they built new stands at Bolin a year ago in preparation for Jordy before she had the injury, but it's not just people coming to watch her now. I mean, they have the amount of people they brought into the fold. They had the big sellout, earlier this month earlier this month. Boomer, I mean, talk about the season as a whole. What have they done for the sport here in the state? Culminating with this last weekend.
Yeah, I think it's just another reflection of just the increased interest in women's sports in general here in Nebraska. We have long been accused of being a volleyball school, and in a lot of ways we are, and we see how popular that is. We've talked many times about how it should be a more popular sport nationally. It just needs that exposure, and I think it's the same is true with softball. You just needed opportunities to watch. You give people an initial reason to watch it, and then they'll continue to do so.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really think it was. You just needed that initial hook, the Jordy Ball factor to get people into it. And then once you watch it, hey, I enjoy watching this. There's no reason I can't watch it week to week. You get it on television a few times. That's nice to have too. It's an easy place to go watch a game, at that stadium, the whole Haymarket Park complex, easy place to go, not an expensive ticket to buy, those sorts of things that would get people into this. You just had to give them that initial reason. And this season, with the kind of hope that we had coming into it, that's what it needed.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, Abby, that hope and that momentum is just going to build. And I'll kind of give you the final take here on the softball season, and we'll move on to the other sports here. But, talk us through here, the end of the year, going into the off season. What do we have coming back?
Well, we will. I know. I'm still so, pardon me, so bummed that this is it. But coming back, I think the main seniors. I don't want to say the main seniors because I think we had 3 seniors. 2 were like kind of the more of a day-to-day contributor, and that's Ava Bredwell, who was our catcher. And my name favorite, Abby Squire, is out in the outfield. Both graduated this year, and then Hayden Warner, I believe, also graduated. So that's who we're missing. That's who we're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's big. Those are leadership positions. But, when you look at what we've got coming back and who we talk about Jordy being a way to get people to watch. And I think that's true. But I think Jordy also, not just Jordy, and I don't want to just put this on Jordy because it's not her. It's not just her. But I think she is a big part of it. And then kind of what everybody's done kind of around her to support that, I think makes people want to play here. Could you imagine if you were in the transfer portal and you were just like, hey, I get to play with Jordy Ball? How fun would that be? And so you have to wonder kind of what that impact is going to be in terms of transfers. Like I said, I know we're getting one. I think Rhonda has kind of secretly said that she kind of posted that it's a good day to be a Husker, which is typically what she does when we've got a transfer coming in. So it sounds like we've got one person coming in, but I'm really excited. I think so many of the pieces that we have are good. More experience will help them. More healthy off seasons will help them. I'm really stoked. And if it's all right, I would like to end, John Squire, who's Abby's dad, left a message that I think does a great job of kind of emulating this year, this season for this team. And so I'd like to read it if that's okay.
Go for it.
And it's just about the essence of the team. And he says, they walk and fight together. They are completely selfless and were called together to play for Nebraska and each other. They celebrated the successes of their teammates like their own. They did not care who the hero was, including the best player in softball. Our family will be riding shotgun all the way to OKC next year, and their success will be unprecedented. And I think that that's a really inspiring and really amazing message that even Jordy, the best player in softball, wasn't doing it to be the hero. She didn't care none of them cared who the hero of the game was. And so often it was somebody else made that big impact on the game. And so I think that's not just who's coming back, but the quality of the players that are coming back. And the fact that they don't want to take that jersey off. They want to keep fighting. They stood there and they watched Tennessee celebrate and they let that pain fester. They let it. They felt it. And it's just because they aren't done yet. And so I think that mindset and that talent coming back is going to make next year. I know we give them time. Let's pause. We've got so many sports to continue looking forward to. But I just think it's going to be a pretty magical season next year. I'll go on record for it. I'll cold take expose myself if it doesn't, but I
can
think
you imagine Nebraska football and Nebraska softball winning a national championship in the same year? It's going to be amazing.
And volleyball. I mean,
oh my God, and volleyball.
The men are gonna win their first NCAA tournament game. Let's go.
You just segued us perfectly into this last piece of the show tonight, and this is the Directors Cup, basically kind of the all sports championship series, whatever that goes, that's going on nationally. And the last we saw, NU was ranked 8th nationally in the Directors Cup for all sports. And, you think about that there's a culture that's being created within the softball program. We love to use the culture word there. Well, I think it's kind of going throughout the entire athletic department. In fact, we saw it with softball here this last weekend that there's, 15,000 baseball fans watching the softball game on the TV at Schwab Field, cheering them on. There's, Husker women's basketball coach Amy Williams at the game, cheering them on. There's Dylan Raiola doing a video, cheering them on. I love it when you see the different teams, interacting that way. And the success of the entire program, I know we think football only, but here's Ben Stevens, and you responded to him, Abby. I think this was good here, but this is a good tweet here from Ben. Only one school in D1 history has made a bowl game. The baseball, the baseball, softball, and women's basketball NCAA tournament, and won the postseason men's basketball tournament in Nebraska. And you also mentioned they also did this thing in volleyball. They went to the Final Four. The success that this program had, wrestling finished second. Bowling went to the Final Four and lost to the eventual national champion Youngstown. The success across the board. I'm not sure how soccer finished this year, but a year ago they were in the Final 8. There's been a lot of success across all these different teams. And Reddit here had another one I'm going to bring up. And this is 6 schools made the postseason this year in each of football, women's, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, softball, and baseball. Only 6. North Carolina, Oregon, OU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas. Those were the 6. Then they posted, I'm going to get this one up here. They went through all the teams that did, those are the ones that did the 6, and then the ones that did 5, Duke, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Nebraska, Alabama, Florida, and Kentucky. Those are the only ones that were on 5 of those. So the only one that Nebraska missed out of all those sports was men's basketball. And we did walk away with some hardware in that sport. It wasn't the NCAA tournament like we wanted, but we did walk away with the crown. But this is success that's being sustained now across multiple sports. Football actually can be a part of this now. We don't have to bury our heads in the sand. We had a winning record. We went to a bowl game. We won a bowl game. We played with a true freshman quarterback who I think people think could be pretty decent, and he's going to be back. We have Coach Rule in his 3rd year. He's done okay in those years at his other stops. So there is some momentum that's being done there. We did beat this Colorado team that's coached by Prime, and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. We beat Wisconsin, ended that rivalry, or ended that slide in football. So there's some positive things even in football. And I guess I bring some of this stuff up because as I'm seeing this, I mean, I'm looking at this top line here, and Oregon is Big Ten, and they made it all 6 of those sports. We're the only other team from the Big Ten that's had 5 or 6 teams in it. And yet you go back to some of the narratives that you have from people that we got to fire these coaches. We've had to fire Hoiberg. We have to fire, there's all these different coaches that you have to fire sometimes throughout the year. We're going through some amazing success right now. And Boomer, you haven't talked to him else. I'll kind of hand it to you here and get your thoughts. But I mean, I'm talking across the board, and we're not even talking about wrestling that finished second. We're not talking about, there's other sports that are having that success too, but this is really a kind of a golden time right now of Husker athletics, where we have teams that are making super regionals and Final Fours and volleyball and all that. And we're even having some success in basketball. We're frustrated that this basketball team didn't make it back to the NCAA tournament. I mean, there's really a lot of good going on right now.
Yeah, it's almost as if there's other sports you could talk about in the offseason than football, but I don't know. Maybe that's come up in the media lately. I don't know. But
yeah.
You're right, Honky. I mean, we've touched on it in some of our podcasts about, some of our parting shots have often been, going out and trying to watch some of these other sports and just, cheer on their success that they have. And you're right. I think a lot of it does stem from our football focused, fan base, like you said earlier, when it's all we look at, we judge our seasons based off of how football seasons are played, and you have your one loss, and that's the end of the world in sports. And it's not in most sports. And people were just not used to watching that or seeing it. And, that kind of gives the sky is falling approach to all those things. And you're not seeing the actual end result of a lot of these seasons. If you're not automatically winning the championship, people just write them off. But, most teams don't win championships. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, most teams just finish high if you can. That's what you shoot for. And we've been doing that consistently in a lot of different sports, it seems. And that's really a better measure of success and health of our program than knee-jerk firing everybody because we just don't make a championship, in 2 or 3 seasons, replace everybody. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you have the other, the intangible things, the off the field things, the fan base support, the facilities, all those things are, that those have never gone away within the program. So, we've always kind of said Husker fans, we show up time and time again, whether the programs are giving us what we want to see or not. And I guess part of my point here is that we're starting to see what we should be seeing out of these programs too. I think of our coaching staffs across the board right now. I mean, really solid coaches. I think that, there's, when I look ahead to, we're going to, about a month here with baseball being the last sport, we're going to put to bed this entire season. And we're going to probably be somewhere around top 10 in that Director's Cup. Well, I don't know. We just won the Big Ten tournament baseball. Softball.
Even after we win the College World Series.
Yeah. So we'll stay up there then, Rob. Yeah. We're going to finish
one thing.
10,
yeah.
And yet I look towards next year and all I see is areas that we can improve and be better in, certainly in football, but we just talked about in softball, how the expectations are going to be College World Series next year.
Every year.
Yeah.
But definitely next year coming off of this, they were one run away from it. And basketball, men's and women's, the expectations keep getting higher as they do better here. And I mean, my gosh, I think we're kind of on the cusp, or maybe we're already in it and we just haven't been talking enough about it. But my goodness, this is when you really look at that, what's happening right now is it's just not happening many other places. It's not happening in the Big Ten anywhere else.
Yeah, one thing, kind of tying into this, looking into the future, I'm going to be interested to see, both just for interest and possibly depression's sake in certain places, is what revenue sharing is going to do with how schools approach like this whole cup. I mean, are you going to see schools where they're just going to focus most of their money on the money sports, the football, the men's and women's basketball, baseball maybe, and all these other sports go away or are reduced or just don't get that focus? And are you going to see some programs that revenue share a little more extensively, and you'll see them dominate more in these sorts of rankings, this Director's Cup, because they are going to focus more on these sports where, I guess the non-traditional, the Olympic sports, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see, I think.
Yeah, we've seen people suggest that there should be some sports move to club sports. I don't think there's a big appetite in Nebraska to do a lot of that. That's for sure. And whether I think, we've had this conversation a number of times. I know there's not a lot of appetite for some people with some of the changes that have happened in college sports with the money piece of it and everything. But at the end of the day, Nebraska, I think, only stands to really benefit from it. There's not that fan support that we have in place. It also doesn't hurt that we really have some pretty good facilities already. Like, that's something that, other schools, if they're behind in that and now they're like, oh, we need to catch up, we need to do something facility wise or whatever. That's hard to do now in this day and age where a lot of that money is going to be going towards the NIL and the revenue sharing piece of it. And so Nebraska's it's well positioned right now. I think we're in financial good shape from an athletic department standpoint. I mean, I think we're in really good shape to take this momentum and run with it.
Yes.
There you go.
Awkward.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I mean, Rob, this is kind of this is the last segment. This is kind of the Kool-Aid segment of it. So it's custom built for you, but I guess we're doing well, and sometimes if you live on Twitter or, on social media, some places, you hear only the negative. Again, Ohio State wanted to fire their football coach as late as November and they won the national championship. Right. So we're not alone in that area either, but sometimes this is just like, for me, especially because it's May and we're down to just baseball being left, and it's kind of cooling down going in. Well, not cooling. Well, it's going into summer here, and it's the idea that's like, this is a chance to take one step back, take a breath, Husker fans, and just kind of look at things. Take a 30,000-foot view of the program, the overall program, and go, oh my gosh, we're ascending almost every one of these sports. And if the worst sport in this was basketball that ended with us winning the crown and the excitement that came from that, if that's the worst thing that happened to us this year, who wasn't excited by watching wrestling? I never paid attention to wrestling before, I'll be honest with you. And there we are, finishing second in the country.
It's so hard to watch wrestling on TV though, because the schedule's so weird. And
I'm just saying, but I didn't pay attention to it. I'm paying attention to it now. I'm paying attention to softball now. I'm paying attention to more than just football, men's basketball, and volleyball. And sure. I think that and I can sense, I can see how many people are watching here. I can see how many people have been paying attention when we do shows that are listening and watching shows that we're doing, talking about things that aren't just football the whole time.
I went to my first volleyball match at Devaney this year.
That didn't exist 6 or 7 years ago. When we started doing podcasting, if we don't talk about football for 90% of it, there is nothing to talk about. No one's going to listen. That's the difference between 2017 and 18 and now, with just that, the interest level. And so much of it, Boomer, you've hit on it, and Abby, you've hit on it so many times. You just need to show these damn sports every once in a while and get them on TV and get them on ESPN, the flagship, and not just bury it. And it's amazing. It's amazing how much support I'm not surprised how much support they're getting from Nebraska fans. We're going to support anyone wearing Nebraska on the uniform, but we are so well positioned right now to take this success and this momentum and run with it.
Well, I think one of the cool things too, though, and I will give some credit to the TV networks, is that there's so much more availability to be able to watch these sports on a regular basis, whether
Absolutely.
It's on Big Ten Plus or ESPN Plus, or even now some of the bigger networks showing sports like volleyball. Softball's always been there, but not as accessible. Apparently this game on Friday is on ESPN Plus, but still, I mean, it's all there. It's all available. It's all pretty common to have these stations. If you're complaining about not being able to watch the game, yeah, I mean, subscribe, because that's just how it's going to be. Right. And it's just been a lot of fun to be able to kind of watch all of this grow and seeing kind of a change in culture across Nebraska sports over the last couple of years, for sure. I will say, and it's something that I was thinking about, kind of like, what are we going to talk about on the show tonight? Everything. I've always hated that word culture from a corporate perspective. It just has always bothered me because it's something that constantly is moving. But since Dannon's come on board, I mean, the amount of, I should say, there's not really been any drama. Right. I mean, there's not constant, the most of the drama is like nitpicking whatever it is that Rule said about the Big Ten and supporting our conference and thinking that maybe, we are one of the best conferences in the country. Like, if it was the coach of Michigan or the coach of Ohio State saying the things that Rule said, nobody would think twice about it. But they're like, oh, Nebraska, poverty school, rah, 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 like, whatever, man. It's like, and I won't describe that hand motion for our listeners, but
thank you.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is that we haven't really had that off-season drama that we're so accustomed to as an obsessive fan base, I think is the easiest way to put it. And it's been kind of really nice to just be able to focus on whatever sport is in front of us instead of like 24/7 about football.
And here's the thing. This is good for football.
It is.
The off seasons in the past, and we experienced it during the Frost era or the Riley, whatever, when the other sports are struggling and they're not keeping keeping your interest. And I'll specifically talk about the men's sports in that case, men's basketball being one that should be a big draw. But when it was struggling for so many years, football doesn't need a whole lot of attention in this state. It's going to get it regardless, right? But you do need something to pull it away. It's good. It's healthy for the fans. It's healthy for the football program. It's healthy for the players in the program to have like a 2-month break. Can you even get that? Can you get a little bit of time away where you don't have to be the focus in the spotlight? And you said a perfect thing there, Rob. I've heard so many people talk, they throw out poverty program to different contexts. They'll throw it out to different programs all across the country, 100 different ways. But like when I look at Nebraska right now, we are literally the opposite. Whatever the definition of the opposite of what a poverty program is, that is what Nebraska is right now. The stat that we showed here, I'm going to put it back up here. That we have 5 of the 6 teams and in those main sports there, men's and women's sports, that made the postseason. And we've had other, again, wrestling and bowling and other teams are having success in soccer going, Elite 8 a year ago. All that. We've had so much success on the field. And as far as support goes, the actual, the money piece of poverty, we're the opposite of that as well, where we are so well supported by our loyal fan base that sells out stadiums. And we're going to be going through a stadium, renovation here probably in the next couple of years. This is the perfect time for football to get better than where they were last year, to get better than 7-6 and beating Boston College in the Pinstripe Bowl. I mean, we need to keep building on this momentum, but I really feel like we have the right people in the right places right now. The Kool-Aid that I'll give you right now with football, the red meat I'll throw out there for someone with football is this coaching staff is as solid of a staff as I've seen here in a long time from top to bottom. These coordinators, I mean, to bring in Mike Eckler at special teams just blows me away. Like, that is awesome to have him back here. We just got the guy that was at Tennessee and had a top 10 special teams unit. Boomer should be ecstatic. We have Dana Holgerson coaching our offense right now. Matt Rule in year 3 and but also on top of that, this is the best looking roster I've seen us have, top to bottom. This is a really good roster. And so there's no promises. I'm not going to sit there and say we're going to go 12-0 or we're going to go 0-12. I always say our ceiling is 12-0 and our floor is 0-12. And you figure out, the team gets to figure out where they're going to fall in between there. But I'm not going to buy anyone right now saying that we can't do something or that this isn't going to happen. The momentum is there. Right now, I've kind of enjoyed this offseason from our standpoint. We haven't done as many shows, not because there hasn't been stuff to talk about. We've just kind of taken a little bit of a break. And we'll get back into it. I know we will. Even the lexicon I use there, I talk about this as the off season. It's the off season for football because that's still in my head. It's the off season. But I'm only talking about one sport. It hasn't been the off season for softball. They just had an unbelievable season. Baseball's still playing, and we talked about both basketball teams throughout. There's so much positive going on right now. And I don't know. This was it just felt like the right night to get together, to talk about things, to just collectively kind of enjoy the success that this entire program's had. And it's, I don't know, it sometimes it's not the Twitter or social media, buzz that you hear, but there's a lot of good going on right now down there in downtown Lincoln, and pretty cool to be watching it.
Yeah, using lexicon. Yeah. I'm very proud of you, Honky. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you're reading. I like it.
Left to right, top to bottom. Yep.
We're a smart podcast.
Well, I think that probably tells us it's parting shots time then. We've done about an hour. Yeah. Typical Redcast here. Abby, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts here?
I am going to echo kind of what you said and just say, Husker fans, just enjoy what's left of this baseball season, however long it lasts. It's house money at this point.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, and then enjoy the time off of sports, and try to just stay grounded during that time, because it's all going to come rushing back really quickly. So that's my message. Is just enjoy what we're in, and enjoy what we'll have with that kind of peace and quiet before the season starts. And then August 28th, let's take down
Convene
some
in
Bearcats.
Kansas City,
Convene in Kansas City. That's right.
That's right. Redcast Rob.
Well, I'm going to enjoy this next month of Husker baseball. It's
next month. I love it.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic run that they're going to have here. I firmly believe they can compete with anybody in the country, and we're about to prove it. Don't at me. Is that what the kids are saying these days? I don't care that, 32-27 is 32-27. There are teams that did not win their conference championship and did not go on to the College World Series or the regionals that had close to or the exact same record. So what's that? I mean,
certain team that won the Big Ten.
To me, they did not win their Big Ten tournament, and so and they are named Iowa
or the season.
That's right. They sure did fail those last couple of series at the end of the season, didn't they? But the fact of the matter is that I hate hearing the if this or if that. The fact of the matter is they had one of the toughest 2-week stretches in all of the Big Ten at the beginning of the season. It kind of set them back a little bit, but they came back. They finished 500 in the Big Ten, and you know what? We did it. We're there. We're still playing. A lot of teams are not, and that's just the way that it is. To quote Bruce Hornsby. So
there you go. We have Bruce Hornsby quoted. That's about time there. All right, and Boomer, how about you?
Yeah, I just kind of agree with what they've all said. Just enjoy this last month of baseball. Baseball is actually Nebraska's first varsity sport that we ever founded. So technically it should be the 1889 initiative if we were, supporting all the varsity sports there. But that notwithstanding, like you said, we'll be back on, once the seasons are, kind of wound down with regular sports. There'll be plenty to talk about. I'm sure, they're already refighting the SEC, getting robbed, Alabama getting left out of the playoffs last year on social media already.
Could you use a different word besides robbed, please? I'd appreciate that.
We could, yes. Stolen, whatever you want to call it. So that's fine. So there'll be plenty to talk about in the offseason. You don't have to, worry about Husker sports 24/7. We'll still talk about them for you and everything else that comes up.
Yeah, no, that's a good segue into mine, Boomer. I was going to say, We've taken some time off, the last couple months. Our shows have been a little sporadic. I'm sure they will be for the next couple months as well. But we still will fill in, do a few shows. I'm sure as baseball is finishing up, but also there could be news with the House settlement and all that fun talk of collective bargaining and all that stuff. There will probably be shows and discussion on that as well over the next few months. I may try to sneak in a couple of fan forums. I've been a little remiss and haven't done that. This is a good time of the year to try to get a few of those in. I have a couple already on deck, but Redcasters, if there's anyone out there that was, I know there's some people have expressed interest in doing a fan forum with me. If there is, let me know. You can reach out on social media to me. My final parting shot on this is with baseball. It's a little disturbing to me that the MVP of the tournament was, I don't even know, some UCLA player. I'm like, how in the world, the voting for that, literally the people voting for that had to have voted before the final game was even done, which is embarrassing on their part. But Ty Horn and his performance, multiple games, but certainly what he did against UCLA there. I mean, give me a break.
Babe Swenson.
Well, yeah, we have multiple guys that could be it.
Swanson, sorry.
Yeah,
I keep thinking Swenson's ice cream back in Petaluma Mud. Ice cream.
So multiple guys that could have been the MVP. But my personal MVP, and I'll finish with this here, Nick Hanley, Ben McLaughlin, what they did on the mics all season, filling in for Sharpie. And this season, this was for Sharpie. And what an amazing finish to the year for them, for everything surrounding that. That's been a tough couple months there. And so let's hope there's a little bit more juice in them. Let's go. We got 3 more weeks here. Let's see how far this team can take it. You said, Abby, they've got house money they're playing with now. Just go. Just play loose, play free.
Real quick, Boomer, what are you drinking? Was that a glass of water I saw, or is that just straight vodka and gin now? You've forgot.
Yeah, we're just going straight with that. No, it's just some tonic water I was finishing off from yesterday. So,
but this is Scotch.
It's summer, mosquitoes pick up. Running the risk of malaria. So
I'm the only one without a drink here.
Hey, Abby,
what?
Rob, you're full of Kool-Aid as is.
Abby, chink.
Oh, not only that,
Oh,
it's a live laugh. It's a live laugh punt. So
Live, laugh,
sickos all the
putt.
way. baby.
Yeah, live,
Punt.
laugh, putt. Oh,
Punt.
punt. Yeah. Oh, is that an Iowa
They're
glass?
football ones.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
No, it's a sickos committee.
It's
Jesus,
live, laugh,
Rob.
punt. Live, laugh, punt. You know, it's
It's
a punting
sickos.
joke.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? You just ruined this really nice parting shots with that. It's a good thing this is a family show.
sorry.
Uh,
Wow. Hey,
Sorry.
by the way, I'm going to bring this up for one more second here before I'm done. I know you can't see it because it's way too
Yeah, I know.
small, but you get down to the two teams right over here. I'm kind of circling them. Like I said,
Oh,
Nebraska
yeah.
has 5 of them. The 2 teams, Omaha's in it with Iowa. So,
All right. Yeah.
so right.
Also,
down
I want
there.
to point out Creighton is in the 4 teams, so we're better than Creighton. So,
Yeah,
suck
no,
it,
they don't.
Creighton.
They don't play football, but that's what. That's
Don't.
not even the point. It doesn't matter.
Hockey.
And neither does Iowa, really.
they play football. They're the
Yeah.
Huskers.
Well, Redcasters, here, toast to all of you out there. Thanks so much for everyone that's been watching tonight. The number keeps growing as the show's been going on, so that's always great to see. Thank you so much for your support through this season, and we will continue doing what we're doing. But until next time, that's another Go Big Redcast.
Go Big Red.
QBR.
Red.
A Herd at Sports Network production.